Hey, just thought I'd show you what I'm doing out here in the garage. So it's a dual overhead cam Suzuki engine. Right. These cams are driven by this chain. The chain goes all the way down around to the crankshaft. Crankshaft's what connecting rods attached to pistons go on the connecting rods, go up and down as the crankshaft goes round and round. We're talking about the valves up here. So this cam lobe, as it spins around, it pushes up and down this little disc here. That disc is sitting on a little cup that covers up a spring, and the spring is sitting on top of a valve like this. So when the cam lobe goes down, it pushes this valve down. Wow, this thing just never knows where to focus. There we go. Pushes this valve down, and that's what allows the air on this side and fuel to enter the cylinder area right underneath the spark plug here. And there's another one over here on the exhaust side, and that lets the exhaust out here. So that's what the camshafts do. These bumps go down, push against that little cup and bucket on the spring, and then the spring just boom, pushes the valve closed again after the cam lobe comes around. All right, but we got to make sure this cam lobe, when it's up like this out of the way, that there's some gap underneath that. So we can look over through the second one, and I have both lobes turned straight sideways. And then we take little feeler gauges like these and we check our lash. And in this case, our lash is too wide on this one. We've got 4.5 thousandths and we're supposed to have a maximum of 3. So we take the little screwdriver there and we spin him around until the gap is up. Then we take this little tool and we slide him right in there, and that's going to, oh, is this the Honda one? I think I got the wrong one. Yeah, that's the Honda one. I want the Suzuki one. And that pushes the little, gotta get my little opening there. And that pushes the little, good, so now that's holding the bucket down. So now I can come in here with my little, come on, there, and I pop that up, and then I grab my magnet, there. So we adjust our valve lash by putting these little shims in, thicker or thinner. Now, if we've got a little bit too much valve lash, it's not great, our performance is going to drop a little bit. But it's not that big a deal. If we don't have enough valve lash, then the valve never closes entirely, and hot exhaust gases end up going in bad places, so nobody wants that. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting in thicker and thinner shims. So this is a shim over bucket, so that the shim sits on top of the bucket that sits on top of the valve spring. Now if we were shim under bucket, then we'd have to remove the camshafts to get at them. And no one wants that. So I really like these Shim Over Bucket Suzukis. So I'll put in a slightly thicker one. So this particular one, normally we put the little stamp number down so they never wear out. This one says it's 2.5 millimeters thick. So I'll put in a 2.55 millimeter thick shim instead. We've got our selection right there, and I'll put in a slightly thicker one. And that's how we adjust valve lash on our overhead cam motorcycle. This particular one, at least, is a Shim Over Bucket. Shim Under Bucket, totally different animal.